Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia, and he's still looking at something down those tracks. Interesting. Well, this week I am working on the trestle. I'm going to be getting the scenery fairly well wrapped up on it over the next few days. It is late Thursday evening. I've been out here for about an hour after work and I've got sculpt mold put in and basic shapes in place, including sort of rough topography in and over there. I have come in and I've used my putty knife to give some shapes that sort of align with some of the rock outcrops that I've got in here. Done some work over here. What I will do is I will mix up some plaster, and on some of the more vertical surfaces, I will give it a texture like what we have over here. And some striations to make it look like it is rock. That's the abutments of this trestle on both sides. Some of the taller areas will have more of a rocky look. Once I get that done, I'll come back in with the stains, and I will stain everything. It will be more of a darker. It'll be more along the lines of what I have over here for a lot of it, because this is down in the valley. This is where all the organic materials are washing and as things are shedding off the landscape. So I will get this all done, get the bridge put back in place, and then I'll come back in with a variety of materials from the garden, as well as some smaller rocks and some other odds and ends that I have, so that where the pilings are for the bents, I will have them surrounded by more rock to kind of help like hold them in place, make it look like that. Variety of loose material in and around here. Definitely some loose material down where the two base bents are coming through here. So it should look pretty rugged when I get done. I will put some trees in and around here next to the cliff coming up. Not big ones, but some that when you're looking through the trestle or down, you're going to see a few trees coming up. Not to block too much of the scenery, but maybe 8, 9, 10 inches up. Some scenic materials coming up the sides, especially over there. It's a gentler slope. It'd be more one that would have weeds and smaller trees and different things. So that's what the plan is. And I'm going to let this sit overnight. And then Friday night after work, I will test fit the trestle, which everything that doesn't have plaster on is where the bents go, so I'm not anticipating a problem. Take it out, and then I will mix up plaster and get started on that part. But by Saturday, I should be staining this. So another thing I want to get done this weekend is to get the first piece of fascia up on this particular side. So I'm going to come back in with a pencil and lightly mark on the rough side of this masonite. Get a shape there, and I can cut that out tomorrow after work. I also need to trim it to length. It is 1 foot too long, so I will cut it just right there. But this way I can get this done, and then I can also then work and have scenery on this. This fascia does not ever need to be removed because all of the track is exposed at the surface. Some of the other fascias, once I get to like in here, and other areas will be removable, and we'll also have some window access, but that'll come as I get farther along on those. So this area is my big project for this week. Friday night, and I'm about done. I'm going to wrap it up. I have the plaster in as well as the sculpt mold for as much as I'm going to do on this. With the bridge in place, you're not going to see a whole lot. You're going to be looking at the bridge. The ground covers just needs to blend into the background. So I will come in the morning and I will stain this. This will be more on the dark side, like there, than on the light side, like there. And then I can put the bridge back in place, and then I can start doing ground cover. I will blend things in. Well, and actually once I get the stain in, and before I put the bridge in, I will start doing the ground cover in the back because that'll be kind of hard to access once I get the bridge in place. But everywhere where you see pink foam board is where the bents will sit, and then I can come back in and I can add details once the bridge is actually in its position and secured. So that's the plan. Let's see what I do with it tomorrow. Well, it's still Friday night. I couldn't wait. So I've stained it up. Now it looks definitely dark. That side, not quite so much. So I'm giving it a minute, and then I'm going to come in and I will dab it off with the paper towel wad. Most of that dark is going to go away, and it will lighten things up, but still keep a darker tint to it. And you can see, at least with the pink foam board, the wood stains don't have any effect on it. So I've been happy with that. Don't want to test it too much and leave a big puddle on it, just in case. But, well, next step, paper towels. And then we'll see how this looks afterwards. Like I said, most of this is going to be covered either by the bridge or by ground cover. So you're not going to see a whole lot except some rock if you're looking really close. So here's how it turned out after wiping it. It's got some interesting contours, an interesting contrast in colors. Underneath the bridge, and after I get the ground cover on, that should look pretty interesting. Same thing over here. More subtle, more browns, more blends in. Again, a lot of that will be hidden, but I'm going to put the bridge back in place. I've got it far enough along. I can see how it looks with the bridge in there. That'll give me some ideas as far as how I want to approach the scenery part of it. So here's how it's going to look if you're looking down at it. You see a variety of rock textures. Swing over this way. Get in there, and it'll be darker as you get up, but not overpowering darker. And on that side, there'll be a lot of scenic materials, so yeah, I like how that turns out. Wish I could get everything in the frame because I've got from down here to up there. So from the deepest part of that start of a canyon to the tallest trees that I've got up here, the scene has 42 inches of elevational difference. So let's see, let me go back this way and we can take a look. So I still can't get it all. There we go. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. Tomorrow I will get the fascia in and I'll start to work on finishing the scenery between the fascia and the tracks, as well as start doing ground cover over there. But yeah, I like how this scene is pulling together. It's looking pretty good to my eye. Well, basic ground cover is going in now on the back side of where the trestle's going to sit. So I've got started up over here a little bit, just to kind of get it started. Going down into that gorge. So, and then back up. So once I put the trestle in place, again, that will not come out of the layout. I've got everything done in behind it, and then I can start to build up underneath the trestle and along the bents. So that will be the next piece. And all of this is glued in place. So a combination of materials from the garden and woodland scenics, and then pieces from my scratch-built trees to add some of that underbrush look in a few of those areas. So this is moving along pretty good. I'm happy with it so far. All right, trestle is back in place, and it's not going to move anymore. I've got the lead-in track nailed. So I will continue to work on the scenery. I can get underneath it up to near the front of the trestle. Then I'm going to stop until I get the fascia in, and then I got everything else ready to go for that last little step out. But yeah, this looks pretty good in behind. Yeah, that rock underneath is going to look pretty good. I still got to obviously do the sides over here once I get the fascia in, but yeah, you can see through, you can see debris in the back. It should be fun. You know, get this thing to a show, little kids are going to be at the right height where they can look under the trestle. They can see all kinds of stuff. And the bigger kids will see the things a little bit higher. And he's still there. He's still looking. The gorge for this trestle is pretty much done. You can see how this is looking here. Rock faces, a lot of debris in and around the pilings for the bents. So I'm happy with how this is looking. Right now what I will do is let the glue dry. I use the 50% white glue, 50% water to hold the basics down. I'm going to let that set because that will also glue the pilings in place for the bridge. Once that has set, I will come back in and spray the scenery down in this area with isopropyl alcohol, and then come back in with additional white glue just to make sure that all of the loose pieces are held in. But that looks pretty good. You know, I might add a few bushes and some other things on this side once I get the fascia put in place. That's going to be my next project. Same over here. Once I get the fascia in and I get this area filled out, I'll probably add some bushes as I get a little farther away from the trestle. And I still probably will add a tree or two in behind the trestle at some point in the future after I make a bunch more. But this is turning out pretty good. So I'm going to go on to some other things here. Sunday afternoon once again, and I am putting the fascia on this side of the center module. So I have it cut out of the same masonite I used for the scenic backdrop. I have it shaped to match up reasonably well with what I have down here. I also have glued in place these little 1x2s, you know, a couple on each side of the gorge. They are glued to the fascia. This fascia should never need to come off, and if I do, well, a couple of quick taps with a hammer and it will come off. I'm not too worried about it. I don't have anything underneath I can't get to from underneath. So let the glue dry a little bit on those, and then I'm going to come back in on the bottom where I have it clamped currently, and I'm going to use some nice wood screws and then some finish washers to give it kind of a nice little look. I'll add a number of those along the bottom into the 1x4 at the base, and then I can come back in with foam board and start filling in those gaps. And by the end of today, I think I'll probably have some more Sculptamold in play here. So this is moving along nicely for this weekend. I haven't gotten too much done by design because it is a really nice weekend here in Richmond. Been out doing mulching and other spring type things, including the first lawn mow of the year. So, you know, the trains have to kind of take a back seat a little bit to some of the things you got to do around the house. So anyway, let's see what else I can do on this one before I wrap this video up. Yep, later Sunday afternoon, and the fascia is in on this one piece. The mounting hardware looks nice. The little 1x2s supported the addition of pink foam board. So I've got this all prepped. Same thing over on this side. It is prepped. I still have to add a couple of small pieces of foam board right in there to kind of build that up a little bit. But yeah, this is turning out pretty good. So let's see what else I can do today before Sunday comes to a close. Thinking Sculptamold. All right, very late Sunday afternoon, and the Sculptamold is in place. I will let it dry thoroughly. Yeah, maybe not. I will come back in a little later with a little bit of plaster. Not much, just a little to kind of hit a couple of points in here and in here and in there. Likewise over here, I'm not going to do anything there. I'll put a little bit there and a little bit there just to kind of simulate that same rock strata, and then I'll use the same basic stain technique. The top of it, nothing. The top over here, nothing as well. I will use acrylic paints, paint that stuff up, and then go to town with the rest of the scenic material ad. Still got to come up with some way that I'm going to do like abutments on this. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. Maybe just more sculpt mold pressed into place with a little bit of a carving is probably what I'm going to do, but we'll see. That'll come a little bit later. So anyway, let's see what else I can get done tonight. So it's Sunday night, and I'm about ready to wrap it up for the day. I came back out and I added some plaster and did a little carving in a couple of areas, and right in here and down in here on that side. Come across over to this side, and again, areas that match up with where I had carving on the other piece. So I've got that set pretty good. What I will do is I will let this dry for a while and then come back in with the wire brush. It'll probably be the last thing I do this evening. Then I can start thinking about staining it, and I will do that tomorrow. I will use the same, sort of the browns on this side, a little bit more of the darker over on this side with some brown, and then I'll do the same thing. Paper towel, wipe off, clean it. Then I'll come in with dilute white glue and start adding more ground materials on it. But that will be tomorrow. And once I get like this area done here and this area done here, I can start to look at finishing this area up. I've got to cut a couple of ties and do some sanding to fill in that gap. I can get at least one more tie in here where I've got my feeders. And paint the top of the bridge. I've got to look at my acrylic paints to find out what I've got that makes a good tie color, so that I can work on doing a sort of a railroad tie brown, and then I can get that painted, paint the rails. I can ballast then the O Scale track in this area. But that'll all come later and probably on the next video. We'll see how much more I can get done on this, probably just the stain, and then everything else will be on the next video. So I'm going to wrap up this video with some things that came in the mail today. So 2 of my eBay purchases came in for figures. So a nice assortment of workers, railroad workers, just some different folks. A few that are not painted, some dogs, a guy with a wheelbarrow, this really cool little like cookout scene. And then in the other eBay purchase that came, a variety of urns, which may or may not see use on this layout. But then also a couple of bears, and that is what I really wanted from this one. So a nice variety of stuff. I can make that do even here where we're working on engines in this logging area. So should be able to get some good figures out of that. Let's see what I got in from Caboose Stop Hobbies. So another eclectic mix from Caboose Stop Hobbies. Several weeks worth of getting stuff on their Wednesday night shows, and now Monday night for the O Scale. So a little bit of freight cars, a dummy Rock Island engine in HO scale. Those will actually go on display up in my office. They probably won't see use on my layout. The older cars will, the refrigerator cars. Then I also got a variety of N-scale equipment, some more tank cars, as well as some vehicles. And then over here, O Scale surveyors that I can put on where the little logging camp is going up, making it look like, excuse me, a track is going to be extended. But the best purchase that I got from Caboose Stop Hobbies will be in this very last segment here. If you've been watching for a while, you've noticed that I do not have any cabooses on my O Scale trains. That's changed. I got this on Caboose Stop Hobbies a couple of weeks ago, and it came today as well. A really nice older O Scale caboose. So I will check out the couplers, make sure that they adapt well with my KDs. Otherwise, I do have couplers I can change out on those. But my trains are going to have a caboose, or at least one of them, when I start running it here again. But you know what? That's it for today. I am going to start to work down at the trestle and that gorge again. But you know what? That'll be on the next layout. So keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.